Okay, let's get this bird rolling. Thanks everyone for coming out today. We're going to change things up a little bit. Rather than discuss club business, we're going to jump right to our guest speaker. Kenny from State Trailers here. He's going. Salt Lake Trailer. My apologies, Salt Lake Trailer. He's here to discuss trailer maintenance and things we can do. If you have questions, this is the guy to ask, so make sure and ask the questions. We got a lot of camping trips and a lot of traveling to do this year. Making sure our trailers are spick and span is a good plan. So, hey, we'll turn it over to Kenny.
Can you guys hear me if I don't use this?
No, I have my hearing aids. Battery just died, so you gotta read.
And the video doesn't pick it up.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I was asked to come down and just kind of talk to you guys and, just let you guys know some of the things that you should look for, do, maintenance, and what could be done, what should be done, what needs to be done. Basically, trailers, the thing I see is people tend to forget that they need to be maintained like your car does. It slips a lot of people's minds, and then it leads to other problems and expensive repairs. The biggest thing is getting there. Repacking bearings, making sure your brakes work so you can get the trailer stop, and making sure your lights and everything work so people, know you're turning left, right, or hitting the brakes or whatever. Basically, the recommendations every other year or 8,000 to 10,000 miles in your bearing repack. Most people don't really ever go that far. In 2 years, people stretch into 4, 5, 10 years, and the grease gets old. It doesn't cool, it doesn't lubricate, and then you start having the bearing rollers break down. So that's why they do it every 2 years or 8,000 to 10,000 miles. I like to tell people a good time on bigger trailers that have brakes, a good time to service it is when the brakes are not working. That way, when they do pull it apart, service it, and then they can adjust your brakes, repack your bearings, put new seals in. The biggest mistake that I'm seeing from manufacturers, Dexter, Lippert, everybody is what they're doing when they're assembling these new trailers. They're actually not even packing the bearings, they're just throwing the grease gun on the end of the zert after they assemble the hub, and then they just pack the hub full of grease. The problem with that is and actually Dexter came out last year and said it's a bad idea. It's a poor design. There's a lot of issues with it. What's happening is the tolerances through the rollers, the bearings, are pretty tight, and it's actually blowing the rear seal out, filling the hubs full of grease, filling the brakes full of grease, and then your drums are full of grease. The magnets aren't able to magnetize and grip, stop your trailer, and then it just causes all sorts of other issues from there. Bearing buddies. Bearing buddies are really good on a boat because they're a really nice tight seal on the outside of that hub. And as long as there's a little bit of grease on the inside, doesn't let any water flow inside the front of from the front of the hub. Grease or water will still get in through the grease seal, and so you still on boats always want to pull them apart every single year, as long as it goes in the water from the last time it was done. But on ATV trailers, travel trailers, dump trailers, utility trailers, enclosed trailers, all horse trailers, all the rest of the stuff like that, 8,000 to 10,000 miles or every other year is the recommendation. And like I said, if you do more and you're using your brakes a lot on your toy haulers or whatever, generally when the brakes are starting to get to where you're at the top of your brake adjustment dial, it's a good time to just pull them apart and have them all serviced and go from there, because unless it's a real heavy trailer and you've got like 500 miles, I mean, you just ride the brakes, Harleys 10 times a day, so, I mean, that's a different story. Electrical's really simple on these trailers. You know, the biggest thing is just make sure all your lights work. A lot of times I get so many calls. My left blinker doesn't work, my brake lights don't work, or running lights. Check the fuse in your truck. It'll save you $80, $100, $120, however much people charge to come out. But check the fuse in your truck, because 9 out of 10 times it's going to be the fuse. Could be a break in the wire to where it's, you know, ground out or whatever else, but a lot of times it's just where that touches once in a while in the wind and it'll pop the fuse, or it could short out from water, whatever it is. But always check that fuse. Tire wear. Tire wear is another big thing. A lot of the times, 9 to 10 times on trailers, the inside of that tire will wear before any part of that tire does. And the reason being is because when it bends a spindle or an axle tube is bent, your toe in, toe out usually eats the inside of that tire, and then if you hit a curb too much weight, it'll actually bend the spindle like this, and then your tires sit cambered like this. Watch the tire wear. Watch your tires for bulging, starting to detread. I don't know if everybody knows what that looks like. Just get online and take a look. It's just pretty simple. But tire stores don't touch tires older than 5 years for that reason. But we just had an issue with this trailer, and I caught one of his tires and he did replace that one.
He showed us.
Yeah, he replaced the one, and then on his way back had another one started to retread. The biggest thing is on chains. When you're hooking your trailer up, the DOT, it's actually state law, your chains need to be crossed. It acts as a cradle, and if the trailer comes off, I've had it happen. I don't let anybody hook my trailers up anymore. But it acts as a cradle, so if the trailer does come undone, it'll actually coast and help that and keep it from digging to the ground. Yes.
Spot on the trailer.
Yeah, that's. Do yourself the favor. DOT can pull you over, but when they have a little loop on the front, cross it, or have them. I like to always weld them to the side of the frame so that they can cross. But yeah, that's a common thing, especially on utility trailers and enclosed trailers. All lights must work. DOT will they're pulling people over for the listings because we are a state that have more trailers, more than anybody. So if your lights aren't working, they will pull you over.
What about reflectors missing?
Reflectors?
Same thing?
I couldn't answer that. I don't have. What kind of a trailer are you talking?
Electric flatbed to haul the ATV.
Like, say a 16 by 7 by 16. They have them down the side of the thing.
Right.
Generally, if you're a private trailer, they won't mess with you. If you are commercial,
But if the lights are broken, they're okay.
generally yes. That's what they want to see. I travel all over. I've had so many highway patrolmen pull up next to me between my truck and trailer. I run unmarked, so they pull up. They're checking for my chains, electrical, and my breakaway cable. That's another mistake. That breakaway cable has got to be hooked straight to the truck. And it doesn't wind through the chain, it doesn't wrap around the chain, it's got to be a straight shot. They will pull you over, especially if it's hooked to your chain. The best breakaway cable is called a zip cable. Fastway makes it. It's a red coil cable, and it always stays tight and straight. that way, because most trailers come with a 4-foot breakaway cable and it just drags and people drag it and it gets all messed up. They're cheap, $12, $15, whatever. You get them on Amazon. It's just, they have even cheaper ones on Amazon, whatever. Best thing out there.
Fifth wheels. I've seen a lot of fifth wheels with chains, a lot of fifth wheels without chains.
Off the pin box, I think they should have them on every one of them. Supposed to. It's a safety thing. That's, so they can hook, because they do come off, or pin breaks, or whatever they need to be. Obviously, you can't cross those. They just need to be straight down. Chains, a lot of the time, are really long as well. Just twist them up. Just take the chain itself and just twist it, and then so it's not dragging it around. That's a big thing that they never covered on the news, but they should have said it with all the sparking wildfires and stuff. Just twist them up so they don't drag. Leave yourself enough slacks so it'll turn, but do twist them up. I was just going to say something else. The trailer theft. Trailer theft's huge here. Huge here. Lock your receiver, your stinger in your receiver, and then lock the trailer to the ball. People cheap out on their locks, even at home. I see them all day long running through neighborhoods. They're cheap, the cheap yellow Reese ones. You can walk up and just hit it with a hammer and that one's gone. Again, I'm not partial to any brand out there. I use Fastway. I've had to cut my own off. They are a pain to cut off. I actually had to cut my receiver lock off the other day. It takes forever. They're very hard. But get a good lock. It takes 2 seconds to steal any trailer from anywhere, and there's always a vehicle in front of my trailer no matter what. My toy hauler now, my work trailer that's out there, never 2 minutes without a vehicle in front of it. I'm sorry? I'm not a fan of tire locks. I can take a tire off in 2 seconds. And
if your trailer's got a spare on it, they just switch them.
yeah, and then they put a spare on it, or they have one with them, or whatever. I have a lot of customers. I have a customer I was just at the other day in Murray. He's in a rough commercial area. He's had his trailer stolen over the last couple of years, a handful of times. He's got the locks on the tires. He's got them on their couplers. I mean, it just takes 2 seconds.
You're talking the big thing that covers the holes,
Yep.
like it said "Made in China" right on the front of it.
That kind of the one that has the clamp that goes around it, that has
Oh, okay.
that style. I mean,
There's ones
there's
that cover the lug nuts and everything. So that one would be a little harder to get the wheel off, right?
right.
But it looks like it should probably be cut through with a grinder. Ever since they made the cordless grinder, nothing's safe.
Yep. Yeah, my Milwaukee cordless grinder is
Yeah.
quick.
4-foot bar will take one of those
Yeah.
off in about
Big
2
bar,
seconds.
yeah.
Yep. The idea is to keep, what do they say, the honest. But,
Look
some,
somewhere else maybe if there's one on your.
if somebody wants it bad enough, yes. It's bad. Last year in Sandy, I was at a job. I was on curbside of a boat. It was a 100-degree day. My window was down about yay far. Nobody around. Lady pulled up, backed up. She didn't see me. Trailer was wide open. I'm over on curbside. We locked eyes. Backed up. She was ready to get in my truck. And we locked eyes and she was gone. So you go anywhere. I mean, you hear it on the hiking trails. People are just getting in vehicles. If it's there, they think it's fair game. So most company, I'm going to speak on what I've heard and experienced. Most auto insurance companies do not cover your trailer. You have to have a separate policy for it. It's so bad, I just insure anything anymore. And if it leaves, I'm like, good, I'll just go get a new one. You know, I've got most trailers, you don't ever see them again.
What about those metal wheel chocks that ratchet in between and then you can put a padlock through them between the tires?
I'm not a fan of those at all, myself. The reason being, and I'll tell you why, is because a lot of people that go camping, my friends and family, I tell them all the time, I'm like, I don't know why you're using those. The problem is, when you put those in there, it spreads your wheels like this. So then it's putting strain on your spindles, your hubs, the spring alignment pins, stuff like that. I see a lot of people do it. It's there again. You can just take a pry bar and pry them all out. So it's there's no solution to the problem. You know, they want it bad enough, they're getting it. What else? What can we think of we were talking about the other day?
What about, checking the brake fluid, in your trailers, if they've got a hydraulic brake system?
Surge systems in some horse trailers, mostly in boats. Surge systems don't last long. It's a sad thing to say that. It's a great idea. For some reason, they just don't last long in boat trailers or in trailers. They're not consistently used like an automobile, so they sit, the seals go bad, they leak, whatever it is. But the more often you do check it to make sure it stays full, the longer it will last. I've changed a lot of them out to electric, a ton of them. I'll do handfuls this year. But they're not common generally on ATV trailers. I'm sure there are a couple out there, but
What about some of our bigger enclosed trailers with a battery for the brake?
electric over hydraulic assist. Is that what you're talking about?
How long is that battery supposed to last?
Are you talking from charge to dying or charge to just like need to be replaced?
If my trailer's 2 years old, I'm worried about that battery, it's in that box, and I can go.
I would check it. So it's 2 years old. Does it sit all winter long? I would definitely check it before you use it. Now your truck will charge that. Well, it should charge that battery as it's running as well. And I don't know if you plug your trailer in, if there's a way to plug it in or put a tender on it or whatever. Just check it for sure. Make sure it does work, because you definitely want that in some of your bigger trailers.
You maintain any and all trailers, right?
I'm sorry?
You maintain any and all trailers?
Any trailer that's pulled behind a pickup truck, yes.
All you for anything, right?
Yes.
ATV trailers, or flatbeds, or
Enclosed, boat, horse, travel trailers. So I work on travel trailers, and I do everything from the frame down. Suspension, brakes, axles. I install a lot of hitches. I just came from doing one. It was absolutely a nightmare.
Where do you do them at?
Your house, your place of work, a church parking lot, wherever was convenient for everybody. You don't need to hook the trailer up and take it anywhere generally. So that's the convenience of my services. I come to you.
So you do the bearings and all that.
Yep, bearings, brakes. I have a trailer full of parts. I've got whatever. So I just don't do any coach work on horse trailers, travel trailers, anything like that.
what's your range?
Las Vegas, Rexburg. I was in Grantsville today. Tomorrow I'm in Camas. I go everywhere. So.
Would you mind repeating who you are and how we get a hold of you?
Hang on.
Oh, you have a card.
Yep,
Never
we're
mind.
out now.
And my name's Kenny, by the way.
Thank you.
How often do you service the springs and the bolts, equalizer, or whatever you call it?
That's a great question, because it generally is different from all trailers. I did a 2013 fifth wheel today that is extremely heavy. It should have been a triple axle trailer. It got all new springs, all no equalizers, everything. It was pretty hammered. It goes from Grantsville, Fish Lake to Grantsville 2 times a year since 2013. It just depends. A lot of the, it's hard to say, just because every trailer is different. That should have been a triple axle trailer. It wouldn't have been tearing it up like it had been. I'm servicing trailers from the 70s that have original brakes, drums, springs, all that stuff. So,
I just wanted.
yeah, it just depends.
I've done my equalizer.
Yeah, the equalizer. It broke. Yeah. I replace a couple of them that are broke yearly. They wear through all the way into 2 pieces. I've seen. You know, it's just one of those things that before every trip. I mean, if you're out every other weekend, just always do a walk around. Get under your trailer. Don't get under it, but look underneath it. You can see the back side of the wheel to inspect everything. So it's just one of those things that it's do your due diligence on a trailer before you hit the road, because you don't want to have that issue.
We have a lot of members that pull doubles. What's the best way to kind of control that second trailer sway?
Tandem axle trailer on your tandem trailer. I used to tandem pull. I used to be 85 feet long. For sure, I was definitely a tandem trailer in the back. You see it all day, every day, all over the place, these guys. The biggest thing is making sure your trailers are loaded properly. We've all seen the video where the vehicle, they transfer the weight on the trailer, on a treadmill or whatever it is. And it's a true thing. You've just got to load it properly, and then some people overload the front of their tandem trailer, too much weight on that hitch, and then it's hurting the rear axle of the fifth wheel or travel trailer. It's the safe way is 2 vehicles. So, you know, it's just easier to stop. And, I never wire brakes in on the second trailer. I can run the wiring for it. It'll just need a separate brake controller in the truck, so you can set the second trailer. What's that?
Is that a good option?
That is the best option. You don't want to set your tandem trailer brakes at the same as your first trailer, because if you're at a 6 on your first trailer and you've got a 40-foot fifth wheel, and then you've got a 7x14 back here, you're just on a tandem action trailer, you're just gonna lock those brakes up every time you know what I mean? So that is the best thing to do is wire in a separate brake controller. And I don't do that. I don't do any truck work either. I can wire your trailers up for what you need, but I just send people to you all. They're the quickest right now and probably the cheapest. So, any questions from where we're at so far?
So let me ask you, so on the wheel bearings then, are you saying Dexter or Lippert, you're saying repack the wheel bearings, but leave the center cavity empty, or put a little bit in the center cavity?
Pull the whole wheel and drum and everything off, or the hub. Pull the seal, pull your bearings, clean everything out, inspect your bearings. I pulled a 2-year-old bearing out of a trailer the other day, and it was starting to disintegrate on the outer bearing. So you want to inspect them, and then you want the drum to be, or the hub to be full of grease.
So do you want the center cavity filled up?
Yes. Yes. That's the best. That way it's got a bath, because grease gets hot and becomes kind of a liquid, and so that way it'll have a bath as well, and then when it cools back down, it goes back to a solid state.
Yeah. So
Sure.
what color grease do you recommend? The black grease, or do you recommend the red grease, the I-10?
Peanut butter.
Seen that new one, the new red one, goes up to 540 degrees melting point, and it's super sticky. It's like boat grease.
I use Napa's high temp, high pressure grease. That's the best grease I have found.
Red grease?
It's brown, peanut butter.
Oh, it's brown.
It's about the color of this.
Okay.
We call it peanut butter.
Uh-huh. Can you get it in a grease gun? Or in the cartridges?
It's Napa brand,
Yeah.
and you buy it in the tubs and stuff like that. I was just gonna say something to that. It's a great water barrier on boats. Yeah, I put them on boat trailers. But I'm an avid boater myself, so I use it on my trailers. This trailer out here, it gets serviced 3 to 4 times a year because of the mileage I put on it. Oh, that's what I was gonna say, the heat. So, you know, it's ready for it now. It's probably got 10,000 or so miles on it. That Napa grease with 10,000 miles, it still has a consistency of when it went in, when it was brand new. That's why I like it. Heat. Everyone's like, oh, my hubs are hot, my hubs are hot, my hubs are hot. Your bearings aren't hot. It's not from your bearings. It's from your brakes. Your brakes are working. If it's hot, your brakes are working. One's hotter than another, one is adjusted tighter than the other. I hear it all the time. My hubs are hot, my hubs are hot. I'm just, it's your brakes. It's because your brakes are working. So don't freak because the hubs are hot. Whatever. You know, they will, on an idle hub, if you take an idle hub and they do get a little warm, they will get warm. But when they start getting hot, that's because your brakes are working. Now, if you have a brake hub that is cold and one that's hot, that brake's not working. So you definitely want to figure out why it's not working. It could be the magnet, it could be wiring.
And if they start smoking, they're working too much.
I have a video of the customers. You know that one that floated the internet of it glowing red hot?
Yeah.
His was very, very close.
Mine didn't get hot red, it just locked up.
Yeah, well, you had a bearing go bad, but
Yeah.
went sideways. Yes.
So, your charge varies on how far you have to travel, or what, like, say you were gonna service a tandem axle trailer
Okay.
in Salt Lake versus, say, Ogden, is there a different charge for that?
So I try to. So you're at Ogden. He's in Ogden. He's in Ogden. He's in Ogden. I'll get all you guys put together in the same day, so that I can come service you all at the same time. That I generally don't charge. If I've got to make a special trip, like I did this morning in Cransville, I had to charge her for that. But I'm really pretty good at my scheduling, so I can get a whole day's worth of work up there. So I don't like to charge people. I also don't like to pay my fuel prices either, but it's hard to. I have such a balance point I have to find right there, and I just try to do it. Like tomorrow, I'm going to Canvas, and I have to charge him because it's a long.
Yeah, so you're going up there deadhead.
Yeah,
So typically in Salt Lake, what does it charge to service a tandem axle trailer?
I charge $110 per axle right now. I did raise my price. I didn't raise my price there. I did have to raise my price $5 per axle to cover the cost of the price of seals that went up. Grease fortunately didn't go up. You know, some of the other supplies didn't either. So it more or less is just covering some of the little things, a little bit of fuel, kind of bunches together on the end of the day. So yeah. Anyway, now if I've got to make a special trip, especially to anywhere, I have a bunch of guys in Idaho. They'll get 15, 20 trailers together, and I'll go up there and do them all in a weekend or whatever. So, but if I've got to do a special trip down to, I don't know, Nephi or something like that, I definitely have to charge it for it. And I hope I don't have to go down there and help anybody on the side of the road. So,
But you will.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Thought on that oil fade bearing,
Oil bath? I change every single one of them to grease.
what's that?
I change every single one of them to grease. Uh-huh. Nope. I take that back, except for 10,000, let's see, 10,000 above axles that they'll stay oil bath. Boats come with oil in them. That's when those boats catch fire going down the road, or the seals, what happens is they get so hot from the caliper, it'll melt that seal, grease goes all over, oil goes all over, gets hot, catches fire, catches boat and trailer on fire. I've seen it so many times. So I like to change them all after grease.
So that charge, you would change the seals on servicing it every time?
I change every single seal. I never reuse a seal. Last year, I need to talk to my parts guy, but I probably did myself 1,200 seals, 1,000, 1,200 seals, something like that. It's so many seals last year. So much grease. Fun. I enjoy it though. But yes, everything's changed. All new cotter pin. I carry bearings with me, so if there's a bearing that's bad, I do change it. But yeah. Anybody else? Yes.
So are you sold on running only trailer tires on trailers, specific for trailers? Or?
Absolutely. Reason being is because the trailer tire is designed to flex on the sidewall. Truck tires do not. And so when you do, let me take that back. Single axle trailer, you're probably fine. Tandem axle, you need to have trailer tire.
Tougher sidewall.
Well, it's designed to flex. Like when you turn sharp, I get so many people are like, "Oh, your axles are bent."
Basically, yeah.
They're like, "Your axles are bent." I'm like, "Nah, don't worry about it." You know, drop bowling tied into a gas station or something. I have to, and they're like, and the tires are just counter from each other. And they're like, so they're designed to flex and give. Truck tires do not give on the sidewalk. So yes, you do need to run you should run a trailer tire on the trailer. Unless you have a single axle and you want to go to a truck tire.
Do you like torsion axles as opposed to a leaf spring axle?
We're getting technical tonight. I like this. I'm not a fan of torsion axles at all. They wear out just like rubber. Well, because it's a rubber stuff too, and they wear out. Then they don't give the flex, and they just get bouncing real stiff. My trailer out here, it's too heavy for what it should be, and there's no. I go down a freeway and it just sits and bounces. Last thing I want to do is work on that thing though. But yes, spring axles do give you the best flex over curves, speed bumps, whatever. You do have a lot more moving parts, and torsion axles are twice as much, if not 3 or 4 times, depending on what you get or where at. So, but yeah.
Good to know.
You know, and a lot of the newer trailers, they are putting the torsions under there, but you just don't get the flex on some of these bigger, heavier trailers. So you go on off-road or, you know, wherever, you just don't get the flex out of it to make it ride smooth. So, that's my opinion.
What about the guys that took the lifts with the leaf springs? Get a little more lift, they last as long, or is that?
Flipping the axles?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people ask, I do a lot of them. A lot of people ask me, does it change the ride? Does it make it top heavy? It doesn't. I've never heard, witnessed, or seen it to where it really changes it. You do get more airflow underneath the trailer, which is nice. You don't really have the blockage on the top. I mean, it comes over the vehicle to go up and over anyways, but I do a lot of them. So, trying to think if there's anything else I can think of that's a must. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm fresh from under a trailer. So.
Means you know how to do it, not just talking.
Yeah. Putting a tandem hitch on the last job, so it was bad. It was a rough one.
What was that brand of hitch?
Fastway.
Can you
They,
get them online or?
yeah, Amazon carries all their products. Their coupler lock is a really good lock. It's really strong. I use them for my receivers, for the couplers, and Fastway. I like their product. they were out of Idaho, I believe, and then somebody just bought them, I think. I don't know, I think Dexter just bought them or something like that. So,
Moved to China. And they moved to China.
what's that?
And they moved to China.
Probably. Can't argue there. Anything else?
What about a new trailer? If you just bought a new trailer, do you suggest servicing those at?
Great question. Yes. Brand new trailers need to be serviced. They're coming one of two ways. Too much grease in them or none at all. Literally no grease in the bearings. There's very, very little, and there's just no lubrication. Or, like I said, they're assembling the hub, sticking a pneumatic grease gun to it, and literally putting so much grease and blowing the rear seal out, and then it's just full of grease from the factory. Dexter, Lippert, any of the other brands are doing it. All of them are doing it. So they do need to be done. Even trailers that are 3 and 4 years old, same thing, need to be torn apart and done.
Guess we better set up an appointment or something.
Yeah,
Want me to bring the boat home too?
that's whatever you would like to do.
I think you ought to demonstrate, and I've got my trailer out there and I'll donate it so you can demonstrate it.
I can demonstrate on my trailer.
Dang.
I tried.
Hey, I like where he's going. Yes, sir.
Sorry about all the question, but
That's what I'm here for.
maybe you talked about it before I got here, but what is the best tongue height as far as when you're putting it on the back of, say, a bumper tow? Do you want it slightly down or level, or what is your recommendation there?
All trailers will travel the best as level as you can get them. Especially tandem pull. If you're a tandem, if you pull tandems, that second trailer really needs to be level, and that'll eliminate most of the sway as long as it's loaded right. You see them all the time though, people pulling like this. But yeah, you want any and all trailers to be as level as they possibly can.
If it's not, is there more weight on the front axle or back?
On the rear axle, I was just gonna say that. It wears the rear tires out, it's harder on the springs, it's harder on all that rear suspension.
I seen a triple axle fifth wheel in Twilla the other day. The front tires weren't even on the ground, weren't even touching the ground.
That's customer mind. We're working on that one. Yep, we're working on that one. I'm just waiting for his springs to be built, so. Any other questions? I do see some familiar faces in the middle.
What's your normal lead time?
I think right now I'm sitting at, I always try, so it's hard. If you were to call me and say, hey, I'm leaving this weekend, this week's a disaster already, so I'm just gonna find a place to get you in. If you're leaving in 4 weeks, get with me, let's get it taken care of and not wait till the last minute. But right now, in a perfect world, I could go 3.5 weeks without scheduling anything right now. So, that's having enough time during the day. So, but if you need it, I can get you taken care of.
Get 5 to 10 neighbors and probably go up the list quicker.
I'm sorry?
Get 5 or 10 neighbors all together and probably go up the list.
We're scheduling out a couple of weeks. Yeah, it's, but yeah. I always try to tell everybody, if you can get, I have tons of customers, especially in Ogden, they call me every other year. I just did them not so long ago. They had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trailers at the park all lined up. I went up and knocked them all at the same time. And I give them a better rate because I'm not moving and whatever. You know, if you've got a bunch of friends and family, I'm more than willing to help you out on price and all those guys, you know. I like it. You like it, I like it, and we're all happy at the end of the day. So. Anything else? Cool. I think everybody got a card. Huh?
I'm sure you're gonna hear from some of us.
Okay. Well, there's my card. it's a lot easier to text sometimes. It's hard for me to answer the phone while I'm under my trailer, and I try not to talk on the phone while I'm driving, even though it's through my truck, but I'm just so focused on my next job and whatever. So shoot me a text, I will get back to you. Most of the time, same day, sometimes the following day, so. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you. I'm going home, guys, I'm tired. Have a good night.
Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you.
We will put Kenny's information on Facebook, just for those of you that aren't present. That way the information's available. He is a great resource. So now we're going to jump into our normal club business. Let's start off with, do we have any new members here? 1, 2. If you would, stand up, give me your name and what machine you're riding, please.
Joel Cruz, and I ride ATVs. I enjoy all of it. So sometimes it might come, sometimes it might not, and yes, I pull doubles. Because I haul 3 quads. 2, one on the trailer, 2 on the second trailer. Hey, thanks.
A lot of our members do. A lot of our members pull doubles, so welcome. Sir?
Brett Roloff, and I've got a 21 KRX.
21 KRX. He's right in your alley, Bill. Well, welcome. How many of you are going on the Kanab ride this month? Fantastic. All the information should be on the website for those of you that are camping. Hotels are in the area if you're going to use them. I'm really excited for this ride. Kanab's one of my favorite places. It's 2 days of great riding. Charlie Stevenson is a local down there. He has agreed to lead us on this ride, and I've been in constant contact with him. All he's done is ride trails in preparation for our visit, so he's got a lot of nice scenery picked out for us and some fun trails to ride.
What's the date
For-
on that? What's the date on Canab?
The date is 21st. For those of you that were with us in Mesquite, we played odometer roulette. And that ended up being quite a fun game. We're going to try it again on this ride. For those of you that weren't there, essentially, we're going to pick a machine at random the morning of the ride, and we're going to log the mileage on the machine. Everybody will pay a small fee, $2 or something like that. I don't remember what it was. And then at the end of the day, we'll go back to that same machine and check the mileage. We'll have everybody guess their mileage, and we'll have it logged. The one closest to the mileage wins the prize. So it was a nice twist to a fun day. And our vice president here has a few things he'd like to cover, so I'll pass the time to him.
I'll think this one is working.
That was working.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about club stuff? Nothing?
I got a question about the ride.
Yeah.
My wife isn't here, but I'm gonna ask her a question.
Okay.
It says it's advanced. Is that Black Diamond or advanced on that ride?
No.
It's just advanced.
Okay.
So as long as you have your seatbelt on and you stay in the vehicle, you should be just fine.
We always do.
Yeah.
I think those are about as right, you know, so.
Yeah, as long as you're okay with the ability of your bike, everybody should be just fine.
I'm fine with
Okay?
it.
And stay off the sandbars.
And don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it, because we are there to help if you need it.
I'm done with the sand. If you're going to the sand, I'm done.
Yes, sir.
So most of the trails in Canab have a name. You know the name of the trails that you have chosen to go on?
They will be posted on both the Facebook and the web page. So, yeah.
They still have to decide. Are you still deciding?
Okay, we want to give a shout out to the Ed Motorsports here for letting us have our meeting again this month. They do have a special going on, rugged radio intercom system, almost half price. Pretty good deal if anybody's looking for an intercom for their bike. If there's no other questions, we probably want to do the room raffle.
Alice is our winner.
time I do, I win, and it's embarrassing.
You're the winner.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody have any other questions? Yes, sir.
So, but when you go to this club, sometimes we have a lot of machines. And when we do a 2-day ride, is it possible that if we've got 50 machines, 25 of them do the trail, but you're gonna do tomorrow, today?
Okay, we're discussing that situation. Yeah, we're discussing that. I don't know if it's gonna happen on this ride, but I think we're going to be splitting the group when we go to Vernon.
Hey, Alex, raise your hand.
This young lady over here's got some information.
It's all yours. Tell what you want to tell them. Come on.
Daniel, help her out.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
I'm doing a smoke raffle in the back. I'm selling tickets for it. All the benefits is going to Make-A-Wish.
What kind of raffle is it?
Smoker.
It's for a smoker.
Oh, meat smoker.
A meat, yeah.
Yeah, you might want to specify meat smoker.
She has the raffle tickets in the back, and if anybody wants to buy any raffle tickets, they're available back there.
Camp chef, it's like a trigger.
There's a big package coming with it. There's a bunch of stuff coming.
A lot of accessories are coming with it.
How much are the tickets, honey?
One is $5. 5 for 20. And then 2 is 10. 2 is 10.
Hey,
Good job.
everybody needs to understand that this little girl has gone above and beyond. She's contacted these people. She's the one that's got the smoker. She's doing this all on her own.
Wow.
So if you'd like to purchase the tickets, right back there at the back.
What?
Any other questions?
Want the money back?
Yes, sir.
On the October lights ticket booth, have we worked out anything with the hotel there, or is it gonna be?
I don't know that we've got that far ahead yet,
Okay.
but we are working forward towards that. So as soon as we have information on that, we will post it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Just FYI, the Spear Club just,
69?
yeah, so that's what we should be. That was the Spear Club.
And that was what?
So, that's good to know. We like information. We can
My
use
friends just went down on last week, so.
fantastic.
Did you hear that, Sue?
I'll pass the information on to Sue. She coordinates all that for us.
Raise your hand, Sue.
Thank you, Sue.
Thanks for everything you do.
I'd like to give Dave Pedersen another shout out. I know I threw it out in the newsletter, but he took it upon himself. We had Danny actually had an idea a while back about all of us running ribbons on our machines. And this come to pass because we were on a ride and a couple of our participants ended up following the wrong group. And needless to say, it was a headache for them and worrisome for us to go find all the people that were supposed to be with us. So we started running ribbons, and Dave took it upon himself to improve the ribbons that we were using. They now come with a nice little carabiner. They're pink in color to honor all of our cancer survivors and warriors. And he went to the added length of putting our club logo on it. So in the event that you lose one, it might find its way back home. So he did that without being asked, and I can't express my gratitude enough, so thank you for that. Next month's ride will be Vernal. The information is forthcoming. We got the coordinates for the pin drop today, so that information will be on the website and Facebook here in the near future. That will be, again, a 2-day ride, and locals up there, local clubs going to guide us. And as Danny described, we may be splitting our group at that time depending on the number of machines that are signed up. Right now, we don't have enough machines to consider splitting, but that's also a month away. So once we get the final count, we can make that decision. But we're going to be riding part of the Outlaw Trail and part of the John Taylor up there. So a couple good trails. That should be a really good time for those of you planning on going to Vernal. Okay, if we don't have anything else, I'd like to thank you for coming out tonight and spending a little time with us. Thank you.
You shut it off?
Mm-hmm.